Hello everyone, my name is Amanda and welcome to an extremely exciting and extremely important video. Today, I, the #1 Blue Exorcist Autism Girly, am going to explain to you the plot of Blue Exorcist seasons 3 through 5. Now, this is very important because people don't believe me when I say that even though the original Blue Exorcist anime came out more than 10 years ago, more than a decade ago, that the true plot of Blue Exorcist does not even begin yet until season 3 in 2024. So I hope you guys are ready to buckle up, strap in, and remember that we play the long game here. Things have been cooking for a decade, and they are about to come to fruition. So I'm so excited to present to you the absolute chaos that I have created for you here today. Now remember to please go back and check out my videos about season 1. I cover the proper watch order, what's going on with the retcon episodes, the movie, all of that nonsense that you need to know. Please note that I have done my very best to construct for you a organized summary that is coherent and makes sense, and in doing that I have glossed over some details, skipped some things, maybe rearranged a couple of moments, so if you notice any inconsistencies, don't come for me. I tried my best, and this was a lot of work. Another thing is that this is not a replacement for watching Blue Exorcist the anime or reading the manga. You should read the manga and you should watch the anime because it's very good. And yeah. Now, things are about to get unhinged. Things are about to get deranged. The plot of this thing gets so crazy. If you thought you knew that this was your basic battle shonen manga about demons, you better get ready because we are about to talk about the Illuminati and cloning and human experiments. Things are about to get crazy, so settle in. It is time for What the Heck Even Happens in Blue Exorcist Part 2. Last we left off, at the end of Kyoto Saga, aka Season 2, Rin and the Exorcist have defeated the Impure King and saved Kyoto, with Rin accepting his destiny as the son of Satan. Yukio, taunted by Toto and awakening to a mysterious power in his eyes, is becoming increasingly emotionally unstable. The random retcon that we have to talk about, which I swear this seems like it's not, but it is important, is that Shiami's mother was previously a brunette and now she is blonde in Season 3. This seems like it's not important, but it is important. Blue Exorcist plays the long game. All right, let's jump into it. Shimane Illuminati Saga, aka Season 3. Yay! So, following their victory in Kyoto, Rin and the X-Wires return to their high school lives. Rin learns that his classmate, new character Sei Godain, inexplicably has the ability to see demons and promises to help him. Rin gets a letter from Mephisto telling him that he's no longer sentenced to death and also inviting him to dinner. At dinner, Mephisto reveals that his true name is Samael, Demon King of Space and Time, and third most powerful demon in Gehenna. He also offers Rin eye drops that will help Godain stop seeing demons if he completes a task for him. He tasks the X-Wires with defeating a shapeshifter, and they have a learning moment where they learn to rely less on Rin's powers and work together as a team. It's very nice. And that's about it for that episode. But the important takeaways from this season are that Rin has a new friend named Godain. He's just like a human kid who goes to the high school, but he's Rin's friend now. Illuminati Saga Episode 2 is called Where Secrets Are. We get introduction of very important new major character, Lewin Lightning Light.
Holy shit!
Yukio testifies to the leaders of the Knights of the True Cross under a Morinath contract about his fight with Toto, and is questioned by Arc Knight Lewin Light, but keeps the awakening of blue flames in his eyes a secret. Yukio is convinced that the purpose of the meeting was for the Knights to keep him under surveillance. He meets up with Shiemi to tutor her, and they have kind of flirty vibes, and Rin thinks they might be dating. The X-Wires are sent to battle a ghost haunting the girls' bathroom, so Shiemi and Izumo have to work together. While fighting the ghost together, Izumo breaks down and confesses that she dislikes Shiemi for rescuing her in Kyoto because she doesn't like having to rely on others. Also, all of the boys cross-dress. At a secret base in Russia, the True Cross leadership discover a man-made Gehenna gate. Mephisto casts a barrier spell to slow its opening, but demon activity will continue to worsen on Earth. Lewin says that the only humans capable of opening a gate to Gehenna are an organization called the Illuminati. We see a brief scene where a revived Toto congratulates his master on opening the gate. So important things for this episode: new character Lewin Lightning Light. He's an Arc Knight. He is basically the second in command of the Knights of the True Cross, and that an organization called the Illuminati is opening an artificial Gehenna gate. Lore interlude. You might have heard me mention in the last slide the Morinath contract. The Morinath contract is not going to be important until 2 seasons from now, but it's mentioned here because Yukio signs one, so I'm going to explain what it is. The Morinath contract is a magical contract enforced by a demon. Should the signer of the contract defy the conditions contained within, the demon will hunt them down and kill them, or otherwise carry out the will of the contract's caster. So it's basically a contract that, in most cases, kills you if you break it. Illuminati Saga Episode 3 is called True Cross Academy Festival, and it is one of my favorite episodes of the whole series. Lewin and Arthur task Shura with identifying an Illuminati spy within the Japan branch of the Knights of the True Cross. Shura suspects ex-wire Nemu Takara, who has been here the whole time, but I've never mentioned because he's not important until now. But Shura thinks that he might be the Illuminati spy. He looks like this. Shimane surprises everyone by enrolling in True Cross Academy. Remember that previously she'd been homeschooled, and tells Rin that Yukio was tutoring her to help her pass the entrance exam. Rin is about to ask Shimane to the True Cross Festival dance when she tells him that she's planning to ask Yukio because she's worried about his well-being. Yukio turns her down because he'll be working as staff at the festival, and Rin and Yukio basically now both think Shimane is in love with the other twin. They have like a love triangle going on, but really they're all just very stupid and can't like tell each other how they feel about anything. On the night of the festival, Shimane is working for her family's flower shop delivering flowers, and Rin is working at the rice ball stand, which he convinces Izumo to help him with. Rin and Shimane run into each other at the dance, and Shimane admits to herself that she might be in love with Rin. They go find Yukio, and all three of them dance together in a little love triangle circle. Illuminati Saga Episode 4 is called Insider. Lightning tortures an Illuminati operative into telling him that their spy is going to kidnap Izumo at the festival because she's needed for their plans. The X-Wires all spread out and try to find her. Izumo is cornered by Takara, who demands that she comes with him, and she thinks he's the Illuminati spy. Takara and Izumo fight, but Shima finds her and fights off Takara by summoning a high-level demon called Yamantaka, who wields a black flame. Shima says that Takara works for Mephisto, not the Illuminati. Izumo tries to go find help, but Shima stabs her in the back and she passes out, revealing himself to be the Illuminati spy. Dun dun dun, big reveal, Shima was the spy. An Illuminati helicopter shows up, as well as many demons who attack the True Cross Academy barrier. Lucifer shows up, leader of the Illuminati, and publicly declares war on the Knights of the True Cross with the intention of reviving Satan and fusing Asya and Gehenna into one, quote, world of light. Shima kidnaps Izumo and leaves with the Illuminati. Rin tries to stop him, but Shima proves himself to be just as, if not more powerful than Rin. That is a big deal. And they escape, setting off a bunch of explosives in the town. Lore interlude! The flames. Blue Exorcist flame lore, very important. Red flame is a normal fire, like in the regular world, that burns physical objects. Black flame doesn't burn physical objects, but it can dissolve spiritual or demonic powers. It's really useful for exorcism because if a demon is possessing a physical body, it can burn out the demon without hurting the physical host. And the blue flame is capable of burning both physical objects and spiritual beings. So that's why it's so important, and it's so important that Rin be able to control it. So, important thing is that the black fire is basically the only thing effective against Rin's powers. So it's a pretty big deal that Shima has Yamantaka, who wields the black flame. Illuminati Saga Episode 5 is called Destiny. Nemu tracks Izumo to her hometown of Shimane Inari, and the X-Wires head there to rescue her from the Illuminati's laboratory. While there, she discovers that her mother, Tamamo, is there, and being subjected to inhumane experiments by head researcher and evil villain Michael Gadoin, who she knows from her childhood. She says this wasn't what they agreed on because she hasn't become an exorcist yet. Gadoin says that they no longer need an exorcist, just someone from her family's bloodline, and if she refuses to be used in his experiments, he'll use her little sister, Tsukumo, and she agrees. Izumo asks Shima how long he's worked for the Illuminati, and he tells her that he was recruited by Todo right before starting at the True Cross Academy. When asked why he did it, he says he was sick of his family's responsibilities in Kyoto, and Izumo slaps him across the face. The X-Wires arrive in Inari, which is full of tourists who are obsessed with moving into a nearby apartment complex. They summon a fox spirit to tell them more about the area, and he starts to tell them about Izumo's past. Illuminati Saga Episode 6 is called I Can't Rely on Anyone, and is one big Izumo backstory flashback. We learn that she comes from a family of priestesses who use their powers to appease the fox demon Ninetails, sealed in their temple with a sacred dance called the Divine Summoning. Her mother was very immature and lazy, leaving Izumo and her sister Tsukumo to grow up ostracized by the family because they were born out of wedlock and bullied for their ability to see demons. So their family doesn't like them, and also the general public doesn't like them. Basically, no one likes Izumo as a child. One day, Izumo is approached by researchers from the Illuminati who tell her they want to extract Ninetails' power from the stone and use it to improve the world. Izumo rejects them, but a researcher named Maria Yoshida tells her to contact her if she's ever in trouble. Tamamo asks the girl's father to meet them for the first time, and he says that if she keeps bringing up their children, he won't see her anymore. After this, Tamamo begins abusing her daughters and totally losing her grip. Tamamo becomes possessed by the Nine-Tailed spirit and massacres everyone in the shrine. She tries to kill her daughters, but the fox spirits save them and they escape. Izumo calls Maria from the Illuminati for help, and they arrive to take Izumo, Tsukumo, and Tamamo to the laboratory, where they torture Tamamo horribly to study her powers of regeneration. One day, Izumo wakes up to find Tsukumo gone, and Maria tells her that she sent Tsukumo to live with an adopted family to save her from being experimented on. She tells Izumo that they'll escape together and leaves her room unlocked. Izumo escapes from the room, and she and Maria are both caught by Gedoin, who injects Maria with an experimental elixir made from Tamamo's cells, and it kills her in front of Izumo. Gedoin tells Izumo that he needs her to inherit Nine-Tails, and that he won't bring Tsukumo back to the lab if she cooperates. Izumo agrees, but secretly she is vowing to kill him in his sleep. This girl boss, this diva. Illuminati Saga episode 7 is called Hesitation. On her way to the experiment, Izumo attempts to escape by summoning her familiars. Shiba chases her down and uses his black flame to kill her familiars, devastating Izumo, who says that they were like brothers to her. This is like really fucked up that he did that. It's really horrible. Rin and team find the Illuminati lab underneath the apartment complex, and they realize that the Illuminati lures in tourists at the shrine by drugging the food in the town and uses them for experiments. They break into the building, and Gedoin sends hordes of zombie-like failed experiments to stop them. He recognizes Rin and Yukio as the sons of Satan and decides to capture them for the Illuminati, dropping them into a big pit with massive monsters inside and separating the group. This is one of those episodes where, like, not a lot happens. They just go into the... It's like a lot of fight scenes. Like, any episode where there's a lot of fight scenes, I just skip over it. I'm like, they fight the thing. Next. Episode 8 is called Determination. Lucifer meets with the Illuminati researchers, and we see that his body is rapidly degrading, being kept intact by life support machines and elixirs. He tells Gedoin to leave Rin alone, but that he has other plans for Yukio. Shima tells Lucifer that Rin's weakness is his hesitation to kill humans. Finally, Lucifer tells Gedoin that he must succeed in his research in order to create a physical body for Satan. Big deal. That is the Illuminati's stated goal, is to create a physical body for Satan. Gedoin gets the results of Izumo's physical exam, and it turns out that she is not more compatible with the Nine-Tailed spirit than anyone else, meaning that attempting to force the possession has a 99.92% chance of killing her instantly. Not wanting to fail Lucifer, he decides to do the transfer anyway, and to attempt to kill Rin in order to impress him, even though Lucifer said not to do that, so he's stupid. But anyway, Gedoin unleashes his massive monsters on the X-Wires, who struggle to fight them off alone, but they're able to escape with the help of excellent cat Kuro, who follow them inside. Rin struggles to fight the experiments because he doesn't want to harm humans, but his determination to save his friends wins out, and they defeat the monsters. This is another fight-heavy episode where they just fight these monsters for like 15 minutes. Episode 9 is called Help Me. So true, bestie. Gedoin prepares to perform the transfer on Izumo. He uses a strong elixir to power up his monster, and the group fights it off, while Rin tries to save Izumo. He's intercepted by Shima, who still proves a match for him in combat, but Izumo refuses to accept Rin's help, believing that she can overcome the Nine-Tailed spirit on her own. The scientists use a machine, it's this mask here, to force Nine-Tails to possess Izumo's body. Shima stabs Rin with his black flame, which starts to deplete his powers. Remember, the black flame is incredibly effective against the blue flame. The experiment forces Nine-Tails to possess Izumo's body, but its power is too great and it begins to degrade her body and mind, preying on her insecurities and isolation. She's able to admit to herself that she's come to love her classmates as friends and accept that they are there to support her. Rin, coming to a similar realization at the same time, these two scenes are very much like in parallel, breaks into the lab, destroys the equipment, and punches Gedoin, which is incredibly satisfying, rescuing Izumo as a horde of zombies descends upon them. Illuminati Saga episode 10 is called Friends. Yay, friends! The rest of the Exorcists arrive at the lab, but Nine-Tails takes control of Izumo's body and attacks them. Tamamo performs the divine summoning dance, returning Nine-Tails to her body, and then dies, defeating the demon along with her. Gedoin uses his machine to force a demon to possess him. Izumo is determined to fight him and summons two familiars, who reveal that Shima held back when fighting them. Izumo performs a powerful exorcism spell, defeating Gedoin, and Shima gets away just as reinforcements arrive. A few days later, Izumo is recovering in the hospital when Nemu gives her a key to go visit her sister in her new home. Tsukumo is living a happy life with a rich family, but she doesn't remember Izumo. Izumo returns her childhood doll and says goodbye to Tsukumo, leaving her to live a normal life. Back at the hospital, Izumo and Shiemi have a heartfelt exchange about their feelings and vow to be honest and trust each other as friends. Izumo buries her mother, promising to move forward. So Izumo has a really good character arc in this season where now she accepts that she has friends now. This episode is correct. Illuminati Saga episode 11 is called Pink Spider, and I hope you guys are ready for things about Shima to get really confusing. Shima's brothers Juzo and Kinzo tell everyone that Shima is actually a double agent working for the Knights of the True Cross undercover at the Illuminati. They recount that Shima was recruited by an agent from the Illuminati, and Mephisto convinced him to act as a double agent. Doane wakes up aboard the Illuminati airship, the Dominus Liminis. His research destroyed, and having disobeyed orders, Lucifer kills him. Also on board the ship, Shima pledges his loyalty to the Illuminati. Back at school, Shima casually walks back into class and everyone is mad at him, but also kind of relieved that he's okay. I also included this lovely screenshot of Rin pretending to be Shima for a scene. I love that scene. They demand the truth, and instead of telling them whether he works for the Illuminati or the Knights, he says he's going through a rebellious phase. I love Shima. Shima's a great character. Mephisto shows up and takes the class to his office, where they meet Lightning, who's there to assess if the Order should trust Shima. Shima says that he returned to school because the Illuminati believe he's a double agent for them. They discuss if they can trust Shima, and all of his classmates say they trust him, and they're actually more suspicious of Mephisto than anyone else. Mephisto goes on a rant about his plans, but he doesn't actually reveal anything, so kind of useless. The Shima summary is that both the Illuminati and the Knights of the True Cross think that he's a double agent, and he won't tell anyone which is which. And he's basically just trolling. Like, he's just enjoying himself. Okay. Oh my god, guys, we did it. We're at the last episode of Illuminati Saga. Illuminati Saga, episode 12, Hidden True Feelings. After the meeting, Shima confronts Yukio with a message from Lucifer, which is basically inviting him to join the Illuminati. We get a flashback to when Yukio was trapped in the Illuminati lab, and he was visited by Lucifer, who said he wants him to join the Illuminati, and seems to know what's going on with his eyes. He promises Yukio that he knows the truth behind his birth, and can give him power. Yukio rejects him, and Shima basically taunts him about it. The class go to a spa resort, they hang out, they have a nice time, some comedic demons show up and they do antics. Rin says he has a crush on Shimane. It's all good fun. Rin asks Yukio what's bothering him, but refuses to open up, believing that it would make him weak. In the post-credit scene, we see him vowing to become stronger than Rin, while ominously standing on the top of a building. We don't love that. That is the end of Season 3, aka Shimane Illuminati Saga. It is mostly about Izumo's backstory, but it's also setting up the presence of the Illuminati, who are going to be the major villain for the entire rest of the series, and also what the hell is going on with Yukio's fucked up little brain. Yukio's crash out is imminent. Be warned. The next season is Season 4. It's called Beyond the Snow Arc. It's basically set into 2 sections, and I would say that the last half of Season 4 is like some of my favorite Blue Exorcist material ever. It's so, so good. So I'm excited to hop into this one. Episode 1 of Beyond the Snow is called Ambition. Mephisto reports to the Order that the artificial Gehenna gates are causing an increase in demonic activity, and soon every ordinary person will be able to see demons, throwing the world into chaos. Remember that only people who have received the Temptant can see a demon previously, but now everyone's going to be able to see demons. It will be very bad. He also says that there may be more Illuminati traitors within the Order, which is great. Yukio tells the class that the Exorcist exam has been moved up, and they all have to pick the Meister they want. The Meister, I might have explained this in the last one, but really quick. The Meister is like what specialty they want to have. There's like people who tame demons, people who have swords, people who have guns, all that kind of stuff. Lightning starts teaching at the cram school. Ryuji admires his skills as a tamer and begs Lewin to make him his apprentice. Lewin gives him a test which he fails, but he takes him as an apprentice anyways, and he starts working as his assistant. Also, this scene contains some intense, inappropriate censorship, where in the manga, Lightning tells Ryuji that he's from Texas, and in the anime, he doesn't mention Texas. And I feel robbed by that because that was my Texas representation. Good pictures going on here. Beyond the Snow episode 2 is called Distress. So true. Shiami's mom worries about the dangers of becoming an exorcist and makes her doubt if she should take the certification exam. Ren and Shiami go on a mission to clear an abandoned house, but end up trapped in the basement. While down there, Ren tells Shiami that he likes her, but she says that he and Yukio are both her friends, and she doesn't like either of them romantically. After they escape, they basically can't look each other in the eye. It's very awkward vibes. Ryuji gets a haircut, and he's no longer blonde. It will be missed. Late that night, Yukio goes to an abandoned building, intent on testing the powers in his left eye. He believes that it activates when his life is in danger, so he attempts to drown himself with a water spell. When that doesn't work, he jumps off the building and loses consciousness. When he wakes up unharmed, he prepares to shoot himself before he's interrupted by a phone call, and that's where the episode ends. This episode is so crazy because it's like the Rin subplot is that he confesses his love to Shimane, the Ryuji subplot is that he gets a haircut, and the Yukio subplot is that he attempts suicide 3 times. Beyond the Snow, episode 3 is called Hometown. We find out that Shura has run away from the Order to her hometown of Aomori. Mephisto sends Rin and Yukio after her. That night, at an inn in Aomori, Rin tries to confront Yukio about his trading and worries about his deteriorating mental state, but Yukio won't tell him anything. The owner of the inn tells them that she saw Shura. Meanwhile, Shura is meeting up with the demon Hachiro, who summoned her back to Aomori, demanding that she must fulfill a promise to him by having a child. She refuses, and when Hachiro threatens her, she seems unbothered. He attacks her and she passes out. Rin and Yukio head to the site where Shura was rescued by the Knights of the True Cross 18 years ago and find her unconscious in the snow. They take her back to the inn, where Shura tells them that she's in a pact with the demon of the lake, Hachiro, a high-level Hydra who is nearly immortal. Because of his immortality, he's being hunted by the Illuminati. Shura tells them the story of her ancestor, Tatsuko Kirigakure, a ninja who sold the lives of herself and her descendants for some of Hachiro's power, pledging that all of her descendants would bear a child and die before the age of 30, ensuring that they would be young and beautiful forever. Shura assures Rin and Yukio that she's come to terms with her fate, having known all her life that she would die young, and tells them not to worry about her. Rin is enraged that she would be willing to die so easily and promises to save her. Later, Hachiro kidnaps Shura from the inn. Also, a fun tidbit about this episode, just a fun little subplot, is that there's a running gag when they get to the inn that the owner of the inn thinks that Rin and Yukio are a gay couple. Episode 4 is batshit insane. This is one of Yukio's craziest. Let's get into it. Episode 4 of Beyond the Snow is called Goodbye to You. In a flashback, we learn that Shura despised growing up as Hachiro's property and would terrorize the nearby village. Shiro Fujimoto arrived to investigate, and Shura convinces Hachiro to let her leave with him as long as she returns having had a baby. Shiro gives her the name Shura. In the present, Rin and Yukio arrive at the shrine to rescue Shura. Hachiro controls Shura and Yukio's bodies in an attempt to make them have a baby. But Rin stops him with his flames. Yukio proposes a deal to Hachiro, where Hachiro will give him the powers of the demon sword and regeneration in exchange for impregnating and killing Shura. Hachiro begins the ritual to give his powers to Yukio, as we see in this screenshot here, when he calls for Rin to attack him. Rin burns Hachiro's body enough that they start to escape, but he assumes his true form as a massive Hydra and captures Shura. Shima shows up to help, and they go to rescue her. Hachiro tells Shura that he wants to die, but can't due to his immortality. She suggests that they both enter an eternal sleep under the lake together. He dives under the water, and Shura resigns herself to her fate. So yeah, this one was a crazy episode. Yukio was lying and acting and doing trickery when he said he was going to get Shura pregnant, but we as the audience did not know that. This was crazy. Also, if you were there when the manga was coming out, there was like a week between him saying he was going to get her pregnant and it being revealed that it was a trick, and that was a crazy week. Episode 5 of Beyond the Snow is called As If Begging for Tears. As she descends under the lake, Shura has flashbacks to her life in the outside world, becoming Shiro's apprentice and living recklessly. We see that she felt abandoned when Shiro started raising Rin and Yukio, and she refers to them as that woman's children. Despite this, Shiro begged her to live her life anyway. Rin and Yukio work together to subdue Hachiro momentarily, and he lets go of Shura. Touched by Rin and Yukio's determination to save her, Shura decides that she wants to live and tries to get away, but Hachiro grabs her again. Yukio and Shima go to save Shura, while Rin pins Hachiro down with his flames. Hachiro threatens to kill them, and Shura breaks free from his grip by slicing off her hair. It's another symbolic hair change, the second one of the season. So Shura has short hair now. It's very, very slay, very lovely. She tells him that she's going to live her life to the fullest, having found something to live for. Rin and Shura defeat Hachiro, reducing him into a tiny snake and letting him escape. Before he leaves, Hachiro warns Rin that one day he will understand the agony of being unable to die. Very ominous vibes there. Now free from her curse, Shura embraces Rin and Yukio. Although she remembers resenting them when she was younger, she realizes now that she's always seen them as family. Like, she is literally their older sister. It is so beautiful. Shima tells an injured Yukio that he was following them the entire time, and taunts him with the immortality and power he could have had if he actually betrayed the Order. And he once again invites him to join the Illuminati. So count that, that's the third time Yukio has been asked to join the Illuminati. They take Yukio to the hospital, and he's told he needs 2 months to recover from his injuries, and he is not happy about that. Okay, we're getting into the back half of Beyond the Snow. This is true peak right here. Beyond the Snow episode 6 is called Awakening. Back at the Order, Mephisto tells Shura that Hachiro has been taken by the Illuminati. Shura accuses Mephisto of knowing about the situation in Aomori. She says she doesn't care what happens to the Order, but that if he gets Rin and Yukio hurt, she will kill him. She is now fully embracing her protector role. Good for her. Lightning and Ryuji investigate the Knights of the True Cross archives. Lewin believes that the Japanese branch is connected to the Illuminati in some way. Specifically, he suspects Mephisto of being involved and thinks everything with the Illuminati must have started on the Blue Knight. Remember the Blue Knight? All the way back in season 1, we learned about the Blue Knight. On his way back from the archives, Lightning confronts Shima, who's been following him. Lightning reveals that he has had a tracking spell placed on Shima in hopes of finding the Illuminati base. Shima tells Lightning he'll report to Mephisto if he starts getting too close to the truth. Shiami visits Yukio in the hospital and doubts her conviction to become an exorcist. Rin and Shiami run into each other, and she tells him that she likes him, but can't differentiate romantic feelings from her desire to be friends. Rin suggests they go out on a date, but Shiami freaks out and won't answer. Izumo, who is eavesdropping, decides to teach Shiami about romance by going to her house to read romance manga. While sleeping over, Izumo convinces Shiami's mom that Shiami has what it takes to become an exorcist, and they have a very lovely girls' night sleepover. It's beautiful. Love that for them. The next day at school, Shiami tells Rin that she feels like she's too far behind her peers for romance and rejects him for the second time. Or maybe the third time if you count the dance. It's not good for Rin. He's going through it. Amaimon shows up. Remember Amaimon, season 1 vibes, having agreed to act like a responsible student in exchange for his freedom from Mephisto. Shiami stands her ground against him, declaring that she's going to become an exorcist. So remember that in season 1, Amaimon had defeated Shiami and taken control of her, but this time she's standing up to him and she says she's going to become an exorcist. Rin says that nothing has changed between them and that they'll all become exorcists together. It's very lovely. Good for them. Good for them. Beyond the Snow episode 7 is called Variant Leaves. This one is like an essay summary, but I can't not include any of it. So much important plot happens in this one. I'm going to try to get through as much as I can. This one's going to be crazy. I apologize. I really, really tried. Ryuji and Lightning's investigation takes them to the monastery where Rin and Yukio grew up. After they learned that 3 of the monks working there were present on the Blue Knight. Lightning threatens them for information, coming close to killing one of them named Misumi before Ryuji stops him. Still, Misumi confesses to working at a place called Section 13 on an elixir. Before he can tell them anything else, he's killed by a Morinath contract. Remember the Morinath contract? Someone swore him to secrecy. Lightning recognizes the seal as being related to the Kin of Time, aka Samael, aka Mephisto, and goes to confront him about Section 13. Mephisto gives them the answer to a riddle, which they use to unseal a secret door at the cram school. When they open the door, they're taken to a preserved past version of the cram school when it was known as the Asylum. Lightning tells Ryuji that both Arthur, the current paladin, and Father Fujimoto came from the Asylum, but that it was shut down 16 years ago after it was ground zero for the Blue Knight. They go inside to investigate, where they find evidence of horrific medical experiments carried out on pregnant women and children with the goal of developing a serum for immortality by creating clones of bodies that could house demon kings. You guys remember when this was like the funny shonen anime? They find a file containing pictures of the clone being possessed by a Maimon, which confirms that the True Cross was at least somewhat successful in creating artificial bodies for high-level demons. Their presence awakens some of the clones, and Mephisto teleports them out of the past before they can investigate any further. Back in the present, Mephisto tells them that the Baal or Demon Kings are cursed to desire physical bodies, despite the fact that any body they inhabit rapidly degrades, leading to madness. He says that Lucifer has been experiencing the madness of his body degrading, which is why he's attacking humanity and trying to return the world to nothingness. 100 years ago, Mephisto told Lucifer that he would produce a physical body that could sustain his power if he agreed not to end the world, which is why he started the research on cloning an immortality elixir at Section 13 and established the Asylum as a cover-up. Ultimately, the experiments were not successful in creating an immortal body for Lucifer, but an immortal specimen was created who was possessed by Satan shortly before the Blue Knight, which destroyed the lab and killed everyone inside, but not before Lucifer stole the elixir research to continue on his own. Mephisto says that Lucifer couldn't have done this alone, and there must have been a traitor within the Order who helped him. They suspect Dr. I'm going to be able to say this, Dragulescu, who was in charge of the elixir research and still serves as a high-ranking knight. Rin and Yukio go back to the monastery for Misumi's funeral. Yukio overhears the other monks mention that Lightning was there. Shiemi asks her mother's permission to take the Exorcist certification exam. Her mother says she has something to tell her that she's finally ready to hear, but the viewers don't get to know what that is yet. Beyond the Snow, episode 8 is called Happy Merry Xmas Birthday in quotation marks with an exclamation point at the end. I'm not really sure how this is intended to be pronounced, but that's what the episode is called. Lightning reports his findings to Arthur, who has amnesia and doesn't remember being at Section 13 before the Blue Night, despite Lightning finding evidence that he was actually born there. After talking to her mom, we still don't know what she told her. Shiemi tells everyone that she's decided not to become an exorcist, but won't tell them why. While going through records from Section 13, huge plot dump, huge lore reveal, while going through the records from Section 13, Ryuji discovers that Shiro Fujimoto was a clone of Azazel made in the lab, and that a page is missing from the records. He concludes that the record for the missing clone must be the clone who would serve as Satan's body, and that it was also a clone of Azazel. Big reveal. Big reveal. The class decide to have a Christmas/birthday party. Sorry, the tone shift is crazy. Class decides to have a Christmas/birthday party for Rin and Yukio, whose birthday is December 27th. They have antics and a nice time is had by all. It's great. After the party, Shura tells Rin and Yukio that she met their mother once after Shiro rescued her, that her name was Yuri Egin, and that she was a kind and beautiful person, but she doesn't really tell them anything else. That night, Yukio asks Rin if he wants to know the truth about why they were born. Rin says no, because he's sure it's a horrible story. Yukio totally freaks out, calling him a coward for not wanting to know the truth. Yukio is fully in his crash out now. Fully in it. Beyond the Snow, episode 9 is called Congratulations. In this episode, not a lot happens, but a lot happens. Okay. Over winter break, the class returns to Kyoto to attend Juzo and Mamashi's wedding and celebrate the new year. Remember Juzo and Mamashi from season 2? Yeah, they're getting married. During the wedding, Yukio questions Ryuji about what he and Lightning are investigating and about Misumi's death. He pulls his gun on Ryuji, but he backs off before anything happens. He's just crashing out so hard that he's pulling his gun on his students. It's great. Shura calls Yukio, saying to hurry back. They turn on the TV and see a high-level demon is attacking Tokyo. Lightning tracks Draglesko to his lab in Romania and beats him up in the parking lot, demanding he confess to being involved with the Illuminati. He tortures him within an inch of his life, but leaves after seeing a mark on his neck that he seems to recognize. Beyond the Snow, episode 10 is called In the Falling Snow. A lot happens in this one, mostly Yukio crash out related. So, panic is breaking out in Tokyo when a large demon attacks. Surprisingly, the general public is able to see this demon, which is making it even more powerful. The class rushes to Tokyo to fight it off, except for Shima, who slips away from the group. Shura, Lightning, and the Exorcist fight off the large demon, but shadows and ghosts start emerging all over the city. While fighting, Lightning confronts Yukio about threatening Ryuji, but refuses to tell him about the investigation. Lightning tells Shima, who's been tailing Yukio, that he'll remove the tracking spell on him if he does him a favor, but we don't know what the favor is. Osceola Redarm, new character alert, Osceola Redarm, who is also an Arknight and basically like besties with Lightning, arrives with a warrant to arrest Lightning for assaulting Draglesko and takes him into custody. Before he's taken away, Lightning slips Yukio a USB drive and gives him a password. When Yukio looks at the files, he sees the evidence that Shiro was a clone of Azazel made by the Knights of the True Cross. Yukio goes into total mental breakdown mode, crashing out even harder. He's enraged that the USB drive didn't actually tell him anything about his mother or Satan, and at the Knights of the True Cross's actions. He loses his composure in battle and is sent home to rest. On the train home, Yukio despairs, crashing out even harder than we thought possible. Feeling like he no longer has a place to belong with the Order or with his friends, he finds himself at Shiemi's house, where he had previously gone while running away from home after fighting with Shiro. Shiemi finds him outside and invites him in for tea. The two have a heartfelt conversation and share a long hug as Yukio tells Shiemi that he's completely alone. Shiemi says that's not true, he has her and Rin. But at the mention of Rin, Yukio freaks out and slams her into the ground hard. It's really fucked up. Horrified with himself, Yukio runs out of the house and into a back alley where he shoots himself in the head, genuinely trying to commit suicide. So previously, Yukio's suicide attempts had been this, crazy experimentation with his powers. This time, he literally is just attempting suicide. The bullet is stopped by a barrier of blue fire, and Yukio hears Satan's voice telling him that he isn't allowed to die yet. Dun dun dun! Satan mentioned, Satan presence. Beyond the Snow, episode 11, is called Beyond the snow. Wow, we did it. Ryuji and Shiemi tell Rin about the things Yukio's done, and Rin rushes off to go find him. Panic is breaking out all over the world due to high-level demons appearing in cities as Mephisto's barrier weakens. He meets with the Prime Minister of Japan about it and tells him that soon everyone will be able to see demons and there will be global chaos. Mephisto holds a press conference where he reveals the truth about demons being real to the whole world, the big status quo change. Backstage, Yukio confronts him and demands he explains what's going on with his eye, which is now glowing blue, giving very much Sans Undertale. Mephisto refuses and goes out on the stage. Yukio pulls his gun on him, but before he can fire, someone else shoots Mephisto in the head. Even though it wasn't him, True Cross Security sees Yukio's gun and arrests him. Mephisto tells Shura that his body has been weakened by maintaining the barrier, and now that he's been shot, the Gehenna Gate will start to reopen, unleashing hordes of demons, which is exactly what happens. The barrier drops, and everyone on Earth becomes able to see demons, causing widespread panic. Rin sees Yukio being arrested on TV and goes to see him in the transport van, but Shura tells him to go home. Obviously, he does not listen, and he and all his friends, along with a Maimon who has been sent by Mephisto, go to break Yukio out of jail. Alone in his cell, Yukio speaks to Satan, but refuses to accept his help escaping, and then Rin and the others show up, break into the cell, and get Yukio out. This next episode, Beyond the Snow episode 12, is called Parting, and it is one of my favorite episodes of anime ever created. So, let's get into it. Rin and Yukio escape the prison and start to run away from the Order, but Yukio stops. Shima shows up in an Illuminati helicopter and offers one last time for Yukio to join them. This time, he accepts their offer, telling Rin that the Knights of the True Cross is no better than the Illuminati, and about the human experimentation and their father's birth. He confesses to Rin about his brutal childhood being trained as an exorcist, and the resentment he feels towards both him and his father. Rin says he's wrong about their family and tries to stop Yukio from leaving, but Yukio shoots him a bunch of times, which is a common Yukio activity. Rin gets up and attacks him with his sword, but Yukio's eye barrier activates and stops him, snapping the Koma sword in half. Satan speaks to Rin through Yukio, who reveals he's been using Yukio's left eye as a window into Atia to keep an eye on Rin. With the Koma sword broken, Rin's full powers start to return to his body. Satan says that if Rin's body is able to withstand his full power, he's ready for Satan to possess his body. Yukio and Shima leave on the Illuminati helicopter, with Shima saying that this time, it really is goodbye. Rin's body proves unable to withstand his full power. He burns to a crisp and dies. I'm not even joking. Rin Okumura, main character, dies in this episode. From the ashes of his body, Rin's demon heart emerges from Gehenna and reforms his body. He wakes up with white hair and a desire to destroy everything around him. Shiemi creates a barrier to protect the class from his flames. Inside his anime mind palace, Rin fights his demon self, the personification of the desire for destruction he's been suppressing all his life. He has an anime battle where he wins by remembering his friends and that he has to save Yukio. In the real world, Rin regains control of his body and passes out. He's taken back to Mephisto's house where he wakes up with white hair and horns. Love the new look, very sickening. So that makes it 3 significant hair changes in this summary. The hair is very significant, okay? The hair is important. He sees Mephisto and demands the truth about his and Yukio's birth. Mephisto tells him to take the key he got from Shiro and go into the past to face the truth about his parents. With the world falling into chaos, Yukio defected to the Illuminati, and now with white hair and horns, Rin opens the door and travels to the past. And that is the end of the season. You need to understand how epic the release of this anime was, because instead of having to wait months or years between seasons, they surprise stealth dropped the first episode of the new season the very next week. It was so awesome. You just had to be there. You just had to be there. But we are getting into the final season so far. This is the current newest season of Blue Exorcist, the Blue Knight arc, aka season 5. This one is so good. So good. But one thing, you have to just accept some things about this season. So this season is entirely a flashback that Rin is experiencing just kind of by like watching. So you know in like Kingdom Hearts when a Disney movie is going on and then Sora is just standing in the background watching? That's kind of what's going on here. So for everything that's happening, just remember that Rin is just kind of standing in the background and observing, but he's not really changing anything about the past. He's just watching. All right, Blue Knight arc, aka season 5, flashback time. I hope you guys are all ready for the backfill. And this is where we understand that Blue Exorcist has been playing the long game, because stuff that you think doesn't even matter from season 1, which remember in real time was more than a decade ago, is going to come back. It's so good. It's so good. Okay. Blue Knight Arc, Season 5, Episode 1 is called Shiro and Yuri. And we have our excellent main characters, Shiro and Yuri. So Rin enters the past where he meets a past version of Mephisto who serves as his guide. He visits the slums of the True Cross Academy town 40 years ago, where a young Yuri Egin is living in an abandoned warehouse with her makeshift family of guardians, 2 of whom are former exorcists. She tells them that she saw a blue fireball while playing, and the elderly exorcist tells her that it was a Rinka or a flame spirit. As she gets older, Yuri befriends this flame spirit, who Mephisto tells Rin was an early incarnation of Satan before he had gained consciousness. Later, the warehouse Yuri was living in burns down and her family perishes in the fire. Left alone wandering the streets and begging for food, Yuri takes cover in a small hideout she finds underground. It turns out that the hideout belongs to a young Shiro Fujimoto, who finds her sleeping inside and throws her out into the cold. Yuri calls him a Yuki Otoko, or a snowman, because he's so cold and cruel towards her. After promising she knows where he can get dirty magazines, he agrees to let Yuri stay the night. Love that for him. Good for him. After the 2 settle in for the night, guards from Section 13 storm the hideout and capture Shiro, who's been on the run from them. They realize Yuri can see demons and take her into the asylum, aka the old cram school, where she and Shiro are separated. The asylum runs a background check on Yuri, and they learn her name is Yuri Egin, and that her family has long since scattered and her parents are dead. With nowhere else to go, she enrolls in the asylum and begins a grueling training to become an exorcist. Despite the intense training and being unable to leave the facility, Yuri is excited to become an exorcist because she loves demons. Important thing to note here is that the asylum is very bad vibes, okay? It's very child soldier vibes. It's not a good time, but Yuri doesn't really know any better. Blue Knight Saga Episode 2 is called Truth. So after being brought back to Section 13, Shiro is brought before Mephisto, who is the leader of the asylum. Shiro tells Mephisto that he would rather die than continue living as a test subject at Section 13. Remember, we learned that Shiro was born there and he is a clone. When Mephisto says he won't be killed, Shiro demands that he be made an X-wire and allowed to train in exorcism, since every 15 years they choose one Section 13 clone to become an X-wire. I just don't know why they do this, and it's never explained further. It's fine. Shiro wants to be picked so he can become an exorcist, earn his own living, and get away from Section 13. Mephisto tells him that he can never be free. Even if he becomes paladin, he will forever be sworn to do the Order's bidding. Shiro says he doesn't care about that, giving extremely sadistic Yu-Gi-Oh! Violence mental breakdown vibes, saying he'll even kill members of the Order to get his freedom. An important thing that's really emphasized in these early episodes is that Shiro was very violent as a child. Mephisto gives the condition that if Shiro ever succumbs to a demon, even once, he owes Mephisto one favor, and Shiro agrees. Mephisto shows Rin around Section 13 and explains the human cloning project. Rin is enraged at Mephisto, but calms down when he explains that the research is literally to keep Lucifer from ending the world, so he's okay with it, I guess. Rin watches Draglesko test an elixir, which was made by injecting cells of demons with regenerative powers into clones of Lucifer, and then extracting the cells from the clones who survive. They give the elixir to Lucifer, but it doesn't work. Remember, Lucifer's body is really degrading. He really looks like the mouthwashing guy in this scene. It's real fucked up. 4 years later, Shiro is succeeding as an X-wire. He returns to Section 13 to do required testing and finds that his fellow clones have had their minds and bodies completely destroyed by the elixir testing. It's very creepy. Yuri, who is now a page, is sent on her first mission, where she sees Shiro for the first time in 5 years. He brushes her off and won't speak to her. They fight off a demon. Shiro fights recklessly and violently, while Yuri tries to save the surrounding small demons. Shiro says that exorcists exist to exorcise demons, but Yuri disagrees. She says that exorcists exist to save people from demons, and that those aren't the same thing. Keep in mind that this is exactly the same debate that Rin and Yukio keep having. Rin observes that Shiro isn't just reckless or strong, but seems to have a destructive desire. Also important in this episode is that Shemi Haza is there, one of the Grigori, or high leaders of the Knights of the True Cross, who's there to observe Lucifer, and that Yuri makes 2 friends called Jenny and Rick. Episode 3 is called Alone. A few years later, Shiro and Yuri pass the certification exam and become exorcists. Yuri becomes a tamer who studies and raises demons rather than fights them. On his first real mission, Shiro's guardian Fujimoto is killed. Shiro takes his glasses and his last name and is allowed to leave Section 13 as an independent adult. He moves out and he immediately starts drinking and smoking and womanizing and all that stuff, but he is made a section chief because he's a very talented exorcist. Shiro leads a mission to exorcise a golem in Mexico. Shiro wants to blow it up, but Yuri is able to subdue it without violence. She's offered a promotion but declines because she likes demons and doesn't want to fight them. Shiro's humiliated by the incident and he takes his anger out by punching Rick. In turn, Yuri slaps him, calling him a weakling for lashing out at others. Shiro goes to slap her back, but a shield of blue fire protects her. Uh-oh. Shiro goes to visit Yuri at the demon raising facility where he tells her about his past. Yuri feels bad and kisses him, and she says that she's in love with him. Extremely based Shiro rejects her because she's 16. We love to see that in anime. It's very rare. He goes, "How old are you?" She says, "I'm 16," and he pieces out. Good for him. The next day, Shiro tells Yuri he's okay with being friends, and he apologizes to Rick. Back at Section 13, the scientists test an elixir on another clone who begins to awaken. Rin recognizes the clone's eyes as being possessed by Satan. Mephisto tells him that it will take 9 years for Satan to fully possess this body. And that is where that episode ends. So the next episode picks up over the course of the next 9 years. Remember, we have 40 years of plot to get through this season, so we're moving fast. Over the course of the next 9 years, also it's called Satan Awakening. I wonder what happens in it. Over the course of the next 9 years, Yuri, Shiro, and Rick have grown into close friends. Yuri has been writing books about demon taming, and Shiro has become a teacher at the exorcism school. At Rick's wedding, Yuri wonders if they've truly grown into adults. Finally, Satan possesses the body of a clone fully. He's unable to speak and basically acts like a child, although he has extremely powerful flames. No one in the lab knows who or what he is. The scientists summon Shiro to the lab. When Satan sees him, he goes berserk and escapes, killing a bunch of scientists. He tracks down Yuri, who recognizes him as the Rinka spirit from her childhood. Guards from Section 13 find Satan and sedate him, taking both him and Yuri back to the lab. Satan wakes up and breaks out again, going to find Yuri. He starts to go on a rampage, but this time Yuri is able to calm him down and prevent him from killing any of the guards. Mephisto suggests that Section 13 hire Yuri to work with the subject, and the researchers agree. Mephisto and Lucifer identify that the demon in the facility is Satan, the god from which all other demons are born. Yuri begins working with Section 13. Over the course of the year, Satan learns math and science incredibly quickly, but he lacks empathy or emotional maturity. He does stuff like killing small animals for fun and throwing fits whenever Yuri has to leave. It's very weird. Yuri says that she needs to expand his world and have him interact with humans other than her. Shiro volunteers, but Satan instantly hates him and becomes really competitive with him. That night, Satan escapes from his room, takes a guard hostage, and demands that the researchers bring him books. Yuri goes to negotiate with him, but he kills the hostage. Having gained knowledge from all of these books, he declares himself the demon god Satan. Dun dun dun! Illuminati Saga episode 5 is called More Important Than the Body. Satan is surprised to see that Yuri is upset at him for killing people, and he goes on another rampage, destroying Section 13 and escaping. He summons an army of demons and he goes into hiding to grow his power. 2 years passed and no one has been able to find him. Yuri says she's still waiting for him to come back, but she confesses to Rick that she's always been in love with Shiro. Meanwhile, Lucifer's body is degraded even worse. He is basically like just a skeleton at this point. After 2 years, Satan returns to Section 13 with an army of demons in tow, demanding that the researchers do something about his rapidly decaying body. They treat him with elixir to slow the degradation, but they can't give him a new body. He seizes control of the facility and barricades himself inside, taking everyone hostage. He demands Yuri be brought to him along with food and supplies to continue the immortality research. The Knights refuse, thinking Satan's body will give out within a few weeks. The siege lasts for a month, with countless hostages being killed. The True Cross refuses Yuri's pleas to go negotiate, deciding they're willing to wait as long as it takes for Satan's body to give out in order to protect their immortality research. Yuri sneaks into Section 13. Shiro tries to stop her but ends up letting her go. Both of them are saying goodbye for what they believe to be the last time. Inside the lab, Yuri tells Satan that if he frees the hostages and stops fighting the Order, she'll run away with him and never leave his side. Although he initially tries to kill her, he eventually agrees to her terms. Oh, this one is so much. Okay. Illuminati Saga episode 6 is called If It Weren't For Me. Satan and Yuri plan to run away from Section 13, with Satan wanting to live out the short remainder of his life on Earth with the woman he loves. Sometime while she's inside Section 13, Yuri becomes pregnant. I knew you were waiting for it. Yes, she becomes pregnant. Jenny, who has been held captive inside Section 13, taking care of the cloned children, tells Yuri that she wants to help them escape. Another exorcist overhears this and reports her. Jenny is shot by Draglesko and dies, and the True Cross ambushes Yuri and Satan when they try to escape. The Knights open fire on them, and Satan uses a massive burst of power to protect Yuri, which finally degrades his body, leaving him comatose and barely alive. The Knights take his remains and hide him deep in Section 13. Mephisto tells the True Cross Council that it was Yuri who summoned Satan and became infatuated with him, pinning the blame for the entire incident on her and making her an enemy of the Knights of the True Cross. He also reports that she's pregnant and being protected by a demonic barrier that prevents any harm from being done to her or her unborn child. Shiro visits Yuri, who's being held prisoner by the Order, and tells her that as soon as she gives birth and the barrier disappears, the Order would kill her baby. Mephisto sends Shiro to recover the Coma Sword from Kyoto, who plans to use it to do just that. Remember, in Season 2, we got a whole flashback about why Fujimoto was in Kyoto. It was here getting the Coma Sword. The doctors discover that Yuri is carrying twins, but her body is rapidly weakening. Few months later, Yuri goes into labor, surrounded by exorcists, including Shiro, who are just waiting to kill the babies. Because of the barrier, she can't receive any medical treatment, and it seems like she might die before the babies are even born. Yuri pushes through, and Rin is born, covered in blue flames and with white hair. He goes on a rampage, killing many of the exorcists there. Rin from the present, who remember has been watching the horrors go down, has basically like a mental breakdown crash out, faced with the truth he never wanted to know. How many people he killed just by being born. The number is several hundred. It's real bad. It's real bad, and he's very upset about it, as he should be. Rin passes out, and Mephisto tosses him back to the present to cool off in an unknown location. And we also get a very brief glimpse of Yukio on the airship and in his Illuminati uniform, looking spiffy. Love that. Blue Night Saga episode 7 is called The Night Before, and this is basically a little interlude where we find out what has been going on in the present while Rin has been facing the horrors in the past. So, in the present, Yukio and Shima arrive at the Dominus Liminis, the Illuminati airship. Yukio is brought to meet with Lucifer, where he says he believes the Illuminati is pure evil, but he doesn't care as long as he can gain power and learn the truth about his birth. Also, the whole world is still panicking about demons being real. It's bad out there. Kanakomaru takes the broken Coma Sword to Kyoto to see if the head priest can fix it, and Ryuji delivers a package to the True Cross Council saying it's evidence that Lightning was right about Draglesko working with the Illuminati. Izumo is taking care of Shiemi, who's still unconscious after using immense power to shield everyone from Rin's flames. Shiemi wakes up and tells Izumo that she's finally accepted that she's in love with Rin. It only took her like 5 seasons. We love that for her. Representatives of the Grigori arrive and insist Shiemi come with them to the Vatican. There, she's greeted by Jeremiah Uzai, who recognizes her and says she still hasn't regained her memories. He takes her with him, saying her mother is waiting for them. So some details about Jeremiah Uzai. He's the leader of the Grigori Sedes, who protects the Grigori, and the Grigori are 3 high-level demons who have agreed to work with the Order to protect Asya. One of them is Shemihazo, who was at Section 13. They take her to the realm of Shemihaza, which is actually the Garden of Amahara from her grandmother's stories. Remember Season 1, Episode 4, more than a decade ago. Everyone there calls her Lady Shiemi, and servants wait on her every need. Although it feels familiar, she can't remember ever being here. Jeremiah says her mother is busy with the state of the world and asks her if she remembers the rituals which will help her mother, but she doesn't remember anything. She goes to the bathroom, and we see that the room Mephisto tossed Rin into is actually the bathroom at Shemihaza's mansion, and Shiemi finds him passed out on the floor. Rin is having a nightmare about how his true self is an evil demon who kills people, but Shiemi's voice reaches him and he wakes up. Rin returns to the past and finds that Satan, now barely conscious, with nothing but obsession for Yuri and craving destruction, has awoken and is rampaging through the facility in a complete breakdown. He lets out a massive burst of blue flames, and Mephisto declares that the Blue Night has begun. Dun dun dun, oh my god. Oh my god, the Blue Night. Blue Night Saga episode 8 is called The Blue Night. We did it, guys, we made it to the Blue Night. It only took 12 years. So back to 16 years ago, Satan is rampaging through the facility looking for Yuri. Feeling that she broke her promise and left him, he now wants to kill her. His body is finally destroyed completely by his power, and he rapidly starts possessing people looking for a new host. Every person he possesses dies within seconds. We see that this is what killed the victims of the Blue Night we learned about all the way back in Season 1, including Shima's brother, Ryuji's grandfather, Konokomaru's parents, Neuhaus's wife, and baby. We also briefly see Shiemi's mother escaping from the Garden of Amahara while pregnant. So basically everything comes back to the Blue Night. It's very crisp, very clean. We love it. Back in the lab, nothing is working to kill baby Rin, and Yuri gives birth to the second baby. Yukio is born human, but the exorcists try to kill him anyway. Rin attacks them before they can kill him, but he hits Yukio with his flame in his left eye. Whoa. Mephisto shows up and tells Shiro that nothing will be able to destroy the heart of Satan's child, but that the Coma Sword can be used to contain it. Shiro traps baby Rin and strikes his heart with the Coma Sword, sealing his powers inside. The exorcists contemplate killing the now powerless baby Rin, but Mephisto says that so long as his demon heart is intact, his physical body can revive indefinitely. This is why I'm always saying it's super hard to kill Rin. He gives the babies back to Yuri, and then Satan appears possessing the paladin who's been standing there. Blue Knight Saga episode 9 is called Fight to the Death. I'm sure it will be good. So Yuri apologizes to Satan for leaving him and says he's a father now. Satan literally could not care less about the babies, and he attacks Shiro, attempting to possess his body. We get a reveal that Satan was the one who started the fire at the warehouse when Yuri was a child by attempting to possess her foster father, and that her foster father was named, drumroll please, Okumura. So if you're like me and you've been wondering for 10 years where they got that last name, that's where they got their last name. Satan possesses Shiro, but Shiro stabs himself in the neck, giving very much season 1 episode 2 vibes. Satan asks Yuri if she's happy to see that he's finally become the man she loves. And obviously she says no, she's not happy about it, and he tries to kill her. But Shiro takes back control of his body before he can. Because he was experimented on with the elixir, Shiro is able to heal very rapidly from his neck wound, and he survives. Shimane shows up and asks Yuri to sacrifice herself and her children to avoid any more death at Satan's hands. Shiro jumps in, and the two of them escape with the babies, now fugitives from the Order. They hide out in an old outpost, and Yuri names the baby Rin after Rinka or Satan, and Yukio after Yukio Toko or Shiro. It's very poetic, okay? It's very beautiful. They set out in the snow to reach Shiro's hideout, but Yuri's body is still weak. On the way there, Shiro says that he's finally free, and they'll raise the baby together with him as their father. Yuri collapses in the snow, and Shiro starts carrying her on his back. They discuss the life they'll have as a family, and it's very, very sad. There's all these terrible, horrible, sad images of them living their happy family life. But Yuri bleeds out and dies in Shiro's arms. In her parting words, she tells Rin and Yukio to be good brothers to each other, and Shiro finally says he loves her and kisses her, but it's too late. She is dead. It's really, really sad, okay? This episode is so sad. Okay, Blue Knight Saga episode 10 is called Light. We gotta wrap up some loose ends here. After briefly despairing, Shiro regains the will to live. He saves Rin and Yukio, vowing that the babies must live on, so he was about to let them all die in the snow, basically, but then he decides to live. Back at Section 13, Lucifer, believing that the promise of an immortal body no longer exists, begins killing everyone still inside in an effort to remake the world. Notably, he kills Rick, who dies dying to save some children, so Rip, Rick, and Jenny, they both died. Basically, just being in Section 13 is a really bad idea. There's always someone inside Section 13 killing everyone there. Mephisto and Shimane stop him by destroying his body with the power of Shemihaza's crystal and sealing his remains in like a special box. Shemihaza says that she will resign from the Order, and Mephisto suggests that she retire to Japan and take up gardening. Dun dun dun! Wow. They find that one child survived Lucifer's powers, and it's heavily implied that this child is Arthur, the current paladin. In Gehenna, Yuri appears before Satan as a spirit. This is absolutely brutal. So she's the ghost. He blames her for everything that happened and says all he wants is to have a body again. Yuri says that she loved him, but Satan destroys her spirit. So if you're wondering why in this like ghost demon universe that Yuri never comes back, she is like totally gone. She can't even be a ghost because Satan killed her ghost. The dawn breaks at the end of the Blue Knight, and everyone starts counting their dead and planning to rebuild. This is a very sad episode. Blue Knight Saga episode 11 is called Promise. This one is mostly like a montage, so it'll be pretty quick. Shiro drops Rin and Yukio off with Mephisto and plans to flee the Order. Mephisto reminds him of his promise to grant him one favor if he ever succumbs to a demon, and he says that by refusing to kill Rin and Yukio, who are half demon, he has succumbed to them. The favor he tasks Shiro with is taking up the mantle of Paladin, with the public knowing him as the hero of the Blue Knight who defeated Satan and the witch Yuri Egin. He also tasks him with raising Rin and Yukio. In Gehenna, Mephisto tells Satan to stop possessing humans in search of a body. Instead, he says he will raise Rin to become his body. Lucifer is also there, and he says that his followers will be continuing the immortality research from Section 13. Satan declares it a race and says that whichever one of them is able to provide him with a body first will have his power on their side for all time. At his swearing in to become the Paladin, Shiro hears Satan's voice telling him that the two are linked and that he'll be watching him. With the help of Uzai, Draglesko salvages Lucifer's body and vows to continue his research in the name of the Illuminati. So Uzai and Draglesko found the Illuminati. We get a cute montage of Shiro like struggling as a single dad, and he decides to give them the last name Okumura after Yuri's father. Shiro moves into the monastery along with Misumi and the others, and all of his friends like form a cute village who helps him raise the babies. It's very cute. It's very lovely. We love that. Oh my god. All right. Blue Knight Saga episode 12 is called Thank You. I've watched this episode like 100 times and I cry every single time. This episode is devastatingly sad, but we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Okay. So we get some more montage of Shiro raising Rin and Yukio, with Rin being destructive and impulsive, and Yukio fearing his ability to see demons. We see Yukio begin training as an exorcist from an incredibly young age, and Rin being a delinquent, all the stuff that we kind of didn't get to see from before. All the years Shiro raised Rin and Yukio, he could hear Satan in the back of his mind, reminding him of the people who died because of him, hoping that his spirit will weaken and he'll be able to possess Shiro's body again, so keep that in mind. We get all the way up to the first episode of season 1 when Rin's powers start to awaken, so it all comes back together. We see the scene where Satan possesses Shiro, but this time from Shiro's perspective instead of Rin, and we learn that the reason Satan was able to possess him was because when Rin said that Shiro is not really his father, it weakened his emotional state enough for Satan to take control, and the events of the series begin to play out from there. It's so sad, and it's so genius. Rin from the present is told by Mephisto that the future is now his to choose. He uses the key to the past one last time, traveling to a moment in his childhood where he comes face to face with a younger Shiro, who's cooking Rin's favorite childhood rice balls for the first time. Shiro tells him that he's going to teach his son Rin to cook instead of training him in exorcism, because cooking requires control and care for others. Shiro says that being a father is a lot of work, but when he looks at his sons, none of his worries seem to matter. It's so beautiful. He doesn't know who Rin is. He's just earnestly telling this stranger how much he loves his sons. Shiro gives Rin some of the rice balls, and Rin eats his father's cooking for the last time. Rin turns to leave. He calls Shiro dad and thanks him for everything. And it's so, so sad. Remember that Rin doesn't usually call Shiro dad. He usually calls him, like, the old fart. Or, like, old man. But this time he calls him his father. Rin cries, sobs, break down, realizing he was wrong to think that he never should have been born, when his parents gave up everything to make sure that he could live. It's so beautiful. All right, final scene. Ready to face the future, Rin steps through the door and onto the deck of the Dominus Liminis, where he faces Yukio, who's holding 2 massive guns and a prong, getting ready to stab himself in the eye. And that is where the season ends. That is it. That is the end of the Blue Knight Saga. That is Blue Exorcist, the anime, thus far. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for coming along on this adventure with me. I know it was long and probably rambly and incoherent. Please feel free to comment any questions and I will answer them, because I do know everything about Blue Exorcist. And I am a professional video explainer. No, I'm not. That was a lie. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll stick around, because obviously, when they inevitably make more Blue Exorcist and they finally get to the good stuff, I will be right here waiting to yap your ear off yet again. Okay, go watch Blue Exorcist. Go watch it. Bye!